Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayad Madirahe Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 10, text number 39. The chapter is titled The Opulence of the Absolute. In short, Vibhuti Yoga. Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tad aham arjuna na tadasti vinaha yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tad aham arjuna na tadasti vinaha yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tad aham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Anybody else look at that?
Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bija tad aham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhuta characharam.
Mataji.
Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasti vinamyasyam maya bhutam characharam.
Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam characharam.
Synonyms. Yat, wherever. Cha, also. Api, maybe. Sarva bhutanam, of all creations. Bijam, seed. Tat, that. Aham, I am. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Na, not. Tat, that. Asti, there is. Vina, without. Yat, which. Shyat, exist. Maya, me. Bhutam, created being. Chara, acharam, moving and non-moving. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. Nothing moving or non-moving can exist without me. Please repeat. Furthermore,
Furthermore,
O Arjuna,
Arjuna,
I am the generating seed of all existences.
I am the generating seed of all existences.
Nothing moving or non-moving
Nothing moving or non-moving
can exist without me.
can exist without me.
Purport. Everything is a cause, and
Everything
that cause or seed of manifestation is Krishna. Without Krishna's potency, nothing can exist, either moving or non-moving. Therefore, he is called omnipotent. Whatever existence is not founded on the energy of Krishna is called Maya, that which is not. Om Agnanatiminandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sijita Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Paryana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namastate Saptakanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vaisya Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavane Vayo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The words again. Yat chapi sarva bhutana bijam tad aham arjuna natadasti vinayatyan maya bhutam characharam. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. Nothing moving or non-moving can exist without me. So here, in this particular section from verse number almost 20, this 39th verse, Lord Krishna is depicting some of his opulences, not all of his opulences, but some of his opulences. Right. And here, this verse is the last verse of his depicting his opulences, that, oh, here I have depicted some of my opulences so that you can see me in everything. If you see a big tree, you see me in that. If you see water, you see me in that. If you see light, you see me in that. If you see mountains, you see me in that. Right. That way, you can see me everywhere. Omnipotent potency of the Supreme Lord that is present everywhere. Right. Just like we see the Tattva, Vadanti Tattva Vida, Tattvam Yad Jnanamadvayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwaneti Sabdyate. The Lord is pursued in three of his aspects. Brahman is all pervasive, omnipotent aspect. Paramatma is localized aspect, and Bhagwan, the supreme controller. Right. So these are the three aspects in which we can pursue the Supreme Lord. So here, by depicting his opulences, he is depicting his all-pervasive aspect that is present everywhere. Through him, he is a generating seed of all existences. He is a generating seed of all existences. In the 7th chapter also, it's mentioned, Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya, Murtya Sambhavanti Tasam Brahma Mahadhyoni Aham Bija Pradapitaha. Aham Bija Pradapitaha. Right? I am the seed-giving father of all living entities. Right? In the 15th chapter again, Sarvasya Chaham Hridasya Sannivishta Mata Smritim Jnana Apahanam Cha. Sarvasya Chaham Hridasya Sannivishta. I am seated within each and everybody's heart. Mata Smriti Jnanam Apahanam Cha. From me comes intelligence and forgetfulness. Vedesya Sarve Aham Eva Vedayo. Vedanta Krit Ved Aham. Right? Vedesya Sarve Aham Eva Vedayo. The entire Vedas ultimately is depicting him. And he is the creator of all the Vedas. Right? He is the creator of all the Vedas. And through the Vedas, he is to be known. Right? Through the Vedas, he is to be known. Not that the Vedas, the supplementary text which the Lord has given for each and every living entity to gradually advance spiritually, people use it just for their sense gratification, forget the creator of the Vedas. No. Through the Vedas, he has to be known. The Supreme Lord has to be known. Right? The Lord, Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram, suridam sarvabhutalam gyatmam santim richati. Right? Bhoktaram yagyatapasam is the supreme beneficiary of all sacrifices. Right? He is a supreme controller, he is a supreme proprietor, supreme enjoyer. Right? He is mentioned, he is the cause of all causes. Right? Ishvara Paramakrishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Anadi Adi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. In the Brahma Samhita, first verse of the 5th chapter itself, it mentions Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? He is the cause of all causes. Right? That's the Supreme Lord. He is the cause of all causes. Nothing moving or non-moving can exist without me. Right? Each and every aspect, whether moving or non-moving, all moving living entities comes from him. He is the state-giving father. Non-moving sthala also comes from him. Right? Non-moving like the mountains. Right? He is mentioning that among mountains are the Himalayas. Right? That also comes from the Supreme Lord. Nothing comes by chance. The modern scientists would make us believe that everything comes by chance. Right? Everything comes by chance. Srila Prabhupada would mention they have not even created a mosquito all these years in their life in the lab, but they are giving a post-dated check. Oh, we have not created a mosquito so far, but in the future we'll create. Post-dated check. In the future we'll create. Right. That's fallacy. Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his book, Life Comes from Life, that one of my scientist disciple was talking to the Noble Lord. He said, what if I give you all the ingredients? Right? What if I give you all the ingredients? Would you be able to create life? And the scientist, Noble Laureate, had no answer. Right? They had no answer. Right? Because they are not the generating seed of even single small living entity. Right. So all moving or non-moving entities exist based on his direction. Based on his direction. That's why it's called a supreme proprietor, supreme controller. Right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matasma. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. What is
मत्तः सर्व प्रवर्तते मत्तः सर्व प्रवर्तते
mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvita. Right? He is the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. The Supreme Lord is the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. Right? He is the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. Right? Not only the material world, no, which we are in the 14 planetary system, and of that 14 planetary system, like we see Mahavishnu exhaling, right, and one bubble or one pore, right, coming out is like a egg-shaped form in which Garbhodakshay Vishnu, or no, Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Garbhodakshay Vishnu lying in the Garbhodaka ocean, through his navel sprouts his stem, which passes through this 14 planetary system, of which Earth, Bhuloka, is in between, right? There are higher planetary system than Earth, the lower planetary system than Earth, and that's only in one bubble. There are millions of those bubbles, in which there are millions of Earths, millions of Bhuloka, millions of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, millions of Lord Brahma. Right. And we think, in our illusion, we think that, oh, no, we are the controller, we are the enjoyer. And that thinking that we are the controller, we are the enjoyer, is nothing but Maya, that which is not. Bewildered by the three modes of material nature. Right? Bewildered by the three modes of material nature, living entity forgets. Right? And the three modes of material nature comes from the Supreme Lord. He is the creator of those three modes of material nature, but he does not come under the influence of it. Right? Yeah. Are there any questions, discussions on this point? Any questions, discussions, realizations on this wonderful point about the Lord's omnipotency? Very well. Very well. Jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Madhupati Prabhu. Hare
Yes.
Bol. Motherji, go ahead, you first.
No, Prabhuji, go ahead. I was just wishing happy Gudi Padwa to everyone, and thank you so much, Prabhu. Madhupati Prabhuji. Very nice class, and
Thank you.
nice to see you all. Happy Gudi Padwa to everyone, because my Gudi Padwa already started.
Happy New Year. Happy Gudi
Happy
Padwa.
New Year.
Happy Gudi Padwa.
Thank- Go ahead, Prabhu.
Madhupati Prabhu, you just mentioned that there are so many millions of Earth planets.
Yes.
So all those Earth planets has this same miseries and conditions and everything?
Yeah. Not same, varying degrees, but Earth being in the center of those 14 planetary system, it's mentioned that Earth has more or less a little bit of a balance of miseries and some pleasure. The higher planetary systems, there is lots of pleasure, right? The lower planetary systems, there's a lot of miseries, pains. So higher planetary system, people tend to be more in illusion because of the pleasure. So after their piety is over, they come back to earth to practice devotion service, to go back to the Supreme Lord. Lower planetary system, there is so much pain that they cannot think about the Supreme Lord. So in that way, earth has some kind of a balance between miseries and pleasures. Still, we see so many miseries around us in different forms. But still, there is some kind of a balance. Still, there is a balance there. But there are many Earth planets, and in all those universes also, Earth planet comes in between. Bhuloka comes in between. Does that answer your question, Jayaprakash?
Yeah, so all those Earth, they have a balance of pleasure and miseries?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madhupati. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Prabhu, I have two comments on the question. Sorry, Mataji, go ahead.
No, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Prabhu, on this point where what is Maya? Illusion. So, Dhanudhar Maharaj had explained Krishna is omnipresent. He's everywhere, including within the space in the atom.
Yes.
When we face Krishna, that means when we are connected to Krishna, that's the proper position. So when we turn our back away from Krishna, that is called
Maya.
Material existence. So he gave the example that I can turn my back away from you because you're localized, you're in one position. But you really can't turn your back away from Krishna. If he's standing here and you turn your back away from him, he's also here. He's also beside you, up, down, everywhere. There's no place where he's not there. So how is it possible to turn your back against Krishna when he's everywhere? The only way it is possible is in an illusion. In an illusion, it's not reality. You can't do anything. The reality is you really can't turn your back from Krishna. So everyone is connected. So it's only here, that illusion, that we are away from Krishna.
That's true.
Then the other point is, I was listening to my Guru Maharaj's lecture this evening, and he mentioned that association is association. When you do association, what is association? Association means to serve. That is association. If we just get together and Krishna is not in the center, we're not discussing topics of Krishna, or we're not engaging in any activity, Krishna conscious activity, like making prasadam or whatever, deity worship, anything, doesn't matter. then that's really not service. So to serve is the whole idea of association. So in this chapter, opulence, Krishna's doing it so that we can remember.
Yeah.
Like, I see a tree, I see a fish, I see the mountain, I see so many things are there, so many, that it will remind me.
Yes.
So that's the basis. Now the question is, after it reminds me, how do we engage then in service? Because these things are all around us 24/7. 24/7, it's all around us.
Yeah.
So we should also be serving 24/7.
Yeah.
So how do we connect that? First of all, how to remember. We now know how to remember, and then after we remember, how to connect it in service.
Yeah, good question. So, so when we see Krishna everywhere, right? Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, right? In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this verse is there in the 30th verse. Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Tasya Sarvam cha mai pashyati Tasyam na pranashyami Sachamena pranashyati. Right? Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. For one who sees me everywhere. Right. So when the Lord is discussing about his limited opulences, ultimately we see him everywhere and we see everything in him. Right. All these big mountains, all this energy, all this, that, everything is ultimately in the Supreme Lord. He is the creator. He is a proprietor. So ultimately we see him, right, everywhere. So just like we are driving on a highway, the moment we don't see the cop, what do? We tend to become complacent. Oh, cop is not here. Let me take a shortcut. Either speed or do something. Right. But here the Lord is present everywhere. When we are in that consciousness that Lord is present everywhere, first of all, there is no shortcuts then. And ultimately, when we see Lord everywhere, then even by seeing that Lord is great, right, I am a servant, in that consciousness, I would start serving the Lord. Right. Just like the deities, Srila Prabhupada said that when we see the deities in the temple, we worship them in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. They're great. It's all the opulences. He is supreme enjoyer, he is a proprietor. But I am so insignificant. Let me just serve you. Let me offer you something. And that offer you something is also not coming from me. It's like a father giving pocket money to the child, and from that pocket money, the child buys a gift for the father. Right. So it's a loving reciprocation which the child does, but the money from with which he tries to buy something, that also comes from the father. But though the father knows that it is his money, he likes that reciprocation. He likes that reciprocation. See that, my child, instead of using that money for his sense gratification, he thought of me. Right. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Right. He is the supreme proprietor. But when we come in that consciousness that he is the supreme proprietor, everything belongs to him, My family members, my wife, the husband, my this, my that, everything belongs to him. He is the enjoyer. And in return, we try to serve him. Initially, for few moments or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or by chanting his holy name, ultimately come to that consciousness that, hey, what's the use? Ultimately, I am his, everything around me is his. So why not I use everything for his pleasure? Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uttamam. Right. All the senses are used in his service. And in that consciousness, right, he comes to the stage of Satatam Kirtayantam Amyatantascha Dridhalta. 24 hours, fully focused in serving the Supreme Lord. He does not have to think about these 6 kinds of whips: lamentation, thirst, hunger, right? He doesn't have to think about these various whips of material existence. He always thinks about how I can serve the Supreme Lord. And further extension of that, everything is Lord's creation. Everybody is Lord's sons and daughters. How I can serve them. Right. So, Lord and then Lord's creation. Serve them. Right. And that service to the Vaishnavas, especially those who are the servants of the Supreme Lord, is considered to be much higher than serving the Supreme Lord himself. Right. Does that answer your question, Mr.
Prabhu, I mean, at a philosophical level or a intellectual level, it makes sense. There's no difficulty in understanding that. But issue is in the practical application. So yes, it definitely makes sense, Prabhu. So let's give an example. Like we do this Bhagavatam class, Bhagavad Gita class, Bhagavatam in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit longer because it's in the evening, you have time. Morning, we have only half an hour.
Yeah.
So, we can do question, answers, discussion, whatever. So let's say it goes on for 1.5 hours. But then till that time, it's very nice. And then after that time, to continue that mood, because this is also seva, what we are doing, listening,
yeah,
is also seva, and it's in the company of Sangha. So we are serving each other. You're serving us by speaking, we are serving by listening, asking questions. So we are serving each other. But after that 1.5 hours gets over, Prabhu, it's back to all the other mundane activities, and it just remains at an intellectual level. That inspiration or that fire or that spark to continue it through. Then again, next morning you get up, you do your 2 hours of japa, you do the Bhagavatam class, you whatever. Now, of course, you'll do some deity worship. So if I see my 24 hours, the seva, so to say, as compared to non-seva, is it's disproportionate. Non-seva is heavier.
Yeah. So how do we bridge that gap?
How do you bridge that gap?
So initially my non-seva is so so much, and my seva is probably, I go to temple once in a while, take darshan of the deities, or take nams, or hear something. Right. So rewind yourself 30 years back or something. They're okay, at that time probably, somebody would tell you, chant one round, which will take 5 minutes. So 5 minutes or 7 minutes? I have no time for that. Right. And from that 5 minutes or 7 minutes, I have no time for that. Or, somebody would say, go to the, let's go to the holy place. Right. I would say, I have no time for all. No, why go to all these holy places? And the transformation which we see in our life itself, right? We are still sadhakas. We are not perfect living beings. We are sadhakas, still students. Have by the blessings of the Vaishnava, somehow or other, we have taken this path of Krishna consciousness. That from that completely non-existent anything, at least have come to some understanding that, hey, I don't want to get into these gross activities of meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling. Right? We have come to at least that understanding that, I should not be doing this. Right. We have come to that understanding that, okay, I have given, I have taken a vow to chant prescribed number of rounds. So though I have no attraction for it, still since I have given commitment for that, I will try to chant that 16 rounds a day, or whatever level of commitment others may have done. So from that, something which is completely non-existent, it has come to some level of, as you are mentioning, disproportionate from moments. Completely non-existent, it has come to a couple of hours, right? 2 hours. Then hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavad Gita, right? Though our mind might be going here and there, still something is going into it. Vibration we are hearing. By the Lord's grace, fully we are eating Krishna Prasadam. Right. So all those things are there, or as you are mentioning, you heard your Guru Maharaj's lecture. So yes, hopefully while we are driving or doing this or that, something we are hearing. Though our mind may not be fully focused, something is going in. Right. So it's a level, since we are still on the sadhaka stage, we have not come to spontaneous devotion. Where spontaneously we come to the stage that, hey, why just the time which I have made a commitment for? Why not make it every moment? Why waste a single moment? Right. Then each and every service which you do, if it is done in that consciousness, why waste my time in, as you mentioned, mundane things? So that realization that this is mundane and this is not mundane will also come, that discrimination would come when we take shelter of higher consciousness or higher Sangha association, which will guide us. By the way, do you know, you will not be knowing, but these activities which you are doing is mundane. So those are the kind of things which are further, like a coach guiding you. No, it guide, it guides us that like somebody practicing for marathon. Is not able to run marathon in one day. Slowly and slowly, he has to come to that stage. When somebody you have to walk 50,000 steps or 100,000 steps a day. You say, is that possible? Now we are struggling. Me, probably 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 steps a day. Right. But yeah, there are others who are practicing throughout the day. So similarly, in spiritual consciousness, there are those who are there around us, who are practicing much more than us. Right. So that becomes my model that, I am here, the model is there. Let me practice more so that I come to that particular stage. That's practical application. Yes, in words it's written there. Satatam kirtan tamam yatam tasya jidavata. Continuously spend time in chanting. And that chanting is not, it's different kinds, right? Chanting on the beats, doing kirtan, talking about Krishna Katha, that's all chanting. Right? That's all chanting. So, yeah. Is that all right, Amitabh?
Yeah, Prabhu. Thanks. I'll have to reflect more on this when the Vaishnav gives some instructions. What is mundane? Don't waste your time here, do this. So it happens only in a Sangha. And it's like same from this lecture only. If a Vaishnav, and I was just thinking that this is a benchmark of how much we are caught in. Many a times it happens that we think we are doing enough. I'm doing enough. I'm doing enough service, but I know what you, Simeshwar Prabhu, Krishna Namanand Prabhu, trying to organize service is such a big task. So Maharaj was saying that when we are chanting, actually you're asking for service. And when the service comes to you is basically Krishna responding. Even though we're chanting, chanting, at least my chanting is all over the place. But when that opportunity comes, it's, then we think like, why am all the time I'm being asked to do this, whatever it be, whether it's Lakshmi Seva, or whether it is come for cooking, or whether it is anything, doesn't matter. All the time I'm being asked to do it. Why isn't this guy doing it? Why can't that guy doing it? So the explanation, it is like we are still in the material disease, and the disease is like a boil. So if someone presses the boil, it hurts even a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, it hurts a lot. But a healthy skin, you press it, it's not going to hurt you. So our conditioning is such that, of course, we are sadhakas, all of us, different levels. Everyone is a sadhaka. So that becomes a benchmark that when an opportunity to serve, it doesn't happen spontaneously because, again, conditioning. But if you ask, or Krishna Nam Prabhu asks, or anybody asks that, Prabhu, come for cooking, or can you do this, do that, then we think we are under pressure. And that's the indication that, my boil is big.
Yes.
At least knowing that we can try and do something. But yeah, thanks for your answer, Prabhu. As always, thank you.
Yeah, so instead of thinking why I am asked all the time, if we come to that consciousness, oh, somehow or other, I may have done some tiny bit of something that I'm getting this opportunity to serve. Somehow, this person has, what I may have done that, this person has given me the opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord. That shift in consciousness comes, then it becomes more loving devotional service. I have been given this opportunity to serve. People should more cling to this. This opportunity is so rare to directly serve the Supreme Lord. Right. So rare to serve the Supreme Lord. There are so many other opportunities otherwise. Oh, become a volunteer here, become a volunteer there, become a volunteer there. But a place where I volunteer, where it becomes devotional service to the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Proprietor. There is no bigger voluntary service than that. Right? There's no bigger voluntary service than that. I remember one time there was an earthquake in Gujarat or some area, and our hospitals had approached me for some funds or this, that, to help. And my Guru Maharaj was around and I was talking to him, and he said, you're just connected in pure devotional service. Why don't you use just your energy in that pure devotional service? There'll be Red Cross, there'll be this, there'll be that. We'll be doing something. And that pure devotional service gives them the transcendental literature to come out of this ocean, nations, in which they are covered. Give them that. Dhoti, kapda, makan, many will look into giving that. But connecting them to the lost relationship with the Supreme Lord is a higher service. Like yesterday you were mentioning in the Bhagavatam class, giving somebody an opportunity to read, or giving somebody an opportunity to not only read but share what he has read, is much higher. Right. And Lord mentions that one who experiences supreme science is the most dear to me. Right? Somehow or other, we connect ourselves in some way or the other where we share Srinvata Swakta Krishnam Punya Shravana Kirtanam. Right? Ultimately, it purifies the speaker, it purifies the hearer, because both are performing, as you mentioned, devotional service. Right. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Amritan Babu, for this nice discussion.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Anybody else had any questions I would like to share?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was just wondering, like, do you have anything, any pastimes related to this Gudi Padwa? Like we have Damodar Leela on Diwali day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Prakat Din on Holi.
So do I have any pastime for Gudi Padwa?
In our Krishna consciousness, yeah.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Make-
Krishna Amitabh, I don't have.
Making Puran Poli and offering to DT and others, serving others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
I will,
true.
I will like that.
Katuchi Amti.
All
Katuchi Amti and Puranpuri. Yes, very good. Jai. Amitabh.
Every festival is conscious only, na Prabhu?
Yeah.
Whatever is there,
Very
is dovetailed.
Prabhuji.
After all, it's all Krishna's. Different Ugadi. There is
Tilgul. What is that? Yeah.
Sankranti.
Yeah,
Tilgul,
Sankranti.
God bola.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, it just reminds us that, okay, time has passed. It's a new year. So at least from this day, let me become more and more serious in service of the Supreme Lord.
Mm.
But apart from that, as far as its connection in some pastimes of the Supreme Lord, not that I am aware of.
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, also I want to just share, like recently, last week, I just called one of my friend who is very senior. She was my neighbor, and she lost her husband last year because of Corona. And she was very good friend of me. And just I wanted to meet her, and I called. And she said, my daughter's wedding is there. And just she said, I'm sending driver, you just come. And I spent 4 days with her. And it is mundane activity, wedding, but because of this Krishna consciousness and all this our katha and discussions, I was just giving her moral support. I was feeling like she was feeling very comfortable. She said, you are with me and I'm feeling so nice. And night time we were talking and she said, why did it happen to me like this? And then whatever discussion we had, I was just giving her inputs to her. Then she said, yeah, finally she was feeling good. She said, whatever you told me about this Krishna consciousness, I just want to start. I said, life is not for just enjoyment. We have to keep our life for serving others and making our life in Krishna consciousness. Then she says, yeah, I will also start doing all these things. So mundane activities also can convert to Krishna consciousness activities. I felt like that.
Yeah.
So thank you for all these association. It's really helping me, Prabhuji. The people, all relatives also, they are asking me for how to chant on all these things. Why don't you eat garlic and onion, all these things? So really helping me, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's what we do when all these mundane association will come. But somehow or other, wherever we go, we have our chanting mala with us. They will ask, oh, what is this? Show them what is that and give them. Share them Krishna consciousness. It gives us the opportunity to talk about Krishna. Oh, what are you wearing on your forehead? Oh, it's a tilak. What is that? Give them.
Yeah.
Share them Krishna consciousness. Right. So all those are opportunities to make them think about Krishna. So whether you're in a wedding environment, no onion, no garlic, or their friends, so they will know that we are not eating no onion, no garlic, so they make some special food and then talk about Krishna. Okay, you offer it to the Supreme Lord. No, you're not offering it mentally, we offer.
Yeah.
That way, the Vaishnava's activities should also be in such a way that the others become attracted to that. They're not just fanatic, they are deriving so much pleasure in performing this activity. So why not I try performing this activity? And somebody would take that seriously. Many
Yeah.
would also laugh about it. Oh, they are Hare Krishnas, Hare Krishnas. They are crazy, they are crazy. They are just chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But while taunting like that, also they unknowingly chanted few times Hare Krishna.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that also gives us happiness, Prabhuji. Something like people are getting us, right?
Yeah.
And wherever I am going, like my sister's place, parents' place, they are making food without garlic onion, and they said there is no difference. Yeah, and it tastes better because I was offering everywhere. I was asking new plate and everything, and then I told them, you guys also do and offer every day whatever you cook. If you are not using garlic and onion, other things you can offer and eat. So they are feeling okay, we can also do this. So I was so happy. They're asking themselves. I was not forcing anyone. I was just doing, offering, and I was cooking like curries I was making, and they were saying, "Oh, it tastes good." Then I was saying, "It's prasad. That's why it tastes good."
Yeah, so that gives us the opportunity. So these are all opportunities to share Krishna consciousness. And now we have so in India, there's so much opportunities we get because it's mentioned that in India, superficially they are covered.
Hmm.
They have heard about Krishna, they have heard about Rama. Or many would say, "Oh, Krishna, I know about it." Right? But no, we don't want to kind of uh, create a big gap that, oh no, you don't know anything and this and that, or create a big dispute. No, give them, share them Krishna consciousness to the level which they can take.
Hmm.
Give them a book, send them a book. There are two of
Yeah,
my
some Bhagavad Gita.
classmates, three of my classmates who are from kindergarten to 12th grade. And we have a WhatsApp group. No, it's like, and I found that they're spiritually inclined. I send them Bhagavatam sets from here. At least, no. If they're spiritually inclined, if they're going to read, no, hopefully they'll get Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
And they were so appreciative about it that they got something like that. Now, if I'll try to sell them, they're going, oh, no, a couple of thousand rupees and this, that. No, they're not going to get that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Do we have time or?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Our Simeshwar Babu said we have unlimited time now.
Yeah, I mean, one question in the sense I kind of know, but this is a question which I get asked is like, why do you chant 16 rounds? Why not 10? Why not 15? Why not 17? You know, and if I've said that this is what, has been prescribed by acharyas? Where in the shastras is it written? So, how do you handle this question?
Yeah, so it's in the Shastras it is written Satatam Kirtantamam, continuously chant. Then our acharyas gave, okay, spend 8 hours a day to chant. Chant 1 lakh names of the Supreme Lord, which is 64 rounds.
Correct.
Right. Our Acharya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj had that standard. That the one who is not a Lakpati is a miser. Right. And definition of his Lakpati means chanting 100,000 names a day. So founder Acharya found that in this day and age, it may not be possible for somebody to chant 64 rounds. So he reduced to 2 hours a day, which is 16 rounds.
Okay.
Right? He reduced to 2 hours a day, which is 16 rounds. Yes, we can chant 10 rounds, we can chant 17 rounds, but we have taken a vow to minimum chant 16 rounds a day. Minimum, because 16 rounds take 2 hours.
Correct.
Right. So minimum we want to spend that much time. But that's minimum. We can chant 17, we can chant 18. There's no harm in that. More we chant, better it is. Right, on Ekadasi day.
Yes, I mean, we have that prescribed number of 16. So I think that was the question. Why
Yeah, that's the
16
minimum.
Minimum. Yeah.
Because that relates to 2 hours. That's why. Right. Well, Founder Acharya gave us this Pancharatiki Vidhi that, okay, not only spend chanting rounds, once we are at that stage where we derive pleasure in just chanting rounds, then we can chant throughout the day, just chanting rounds. But so that in our initial stage, when we have our mind is so much conditioned, so then he gave us that, okay, you do deity worship also, you do the hearing of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita also in the morning and evening, chanting rounds also, cooking for the Lord also. So in that way, whatever different inclinations which we have, we can use that in the service of the Lord. That's why
Yes,
I gave
Prabhu.
us 2 hours. But during Srila Prabhupada's time also, there was a disciple who said, oh, why only 16 rounds? Why not 192 rounds? Why not 24 hours? So Srila Prabhupada said, yeah, you don't have to do any service. If you can, why don't you chant 24 hours? And immediately he asked his other disciples that, this disciple want to chant like Haridas Thakur in a cave. So in this particular room, he will not come out. He will just chant his rounds. He will not do any other service outside, physical service. Just bring prasadam for him every day. And that devotee started chanting. One day he chanted, all the prasadam was brought. Second day he chanted, all the prasadam was brought. Third day he chanted, all the prasadam was brought. And fourth day, he was not there. He was outside in the field, tilling the land in Mayapur.
Yeah.
Right. So we are not at that stage of
Yes.
those advanced devotees.
Hare Krishna
No, I
Prabhu,
had this discussion. Yeah.
go ahead,
Is that
Mataji.
right, Mataji? Savita Mataji?
No, I was just saying that I had this discussion with one of my relatives also, and he was like, he had this big thing. I want to see God. In Marathi, we say, "Mala devala bagayacha hai." I said, firstly, even if you see God, will you recognize him? And second, what will you do after you see him? Will you just say hi, hello, and then move on? So that kind of opened his,
Yeah.
you have to serve.
Yeah. Our eyes needs to be anointed by the love of God to see God. Otherwise, as you mentioned, we won't be able to recognize him. Duryodhan and army, though Lord was present in front of them, they could not recognize the Lord because they did not have the love of God.
Yes,
Is that
Prabhu.
okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Ashish Jagannath Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Babu, Dandavat Pranam to everyone.
Prabhupada.
To all Guru Srila Prabhupada Prabhu. Prabhu, we know that amazing creation by Lord Krishna and his energy. We know that his internal potency energy and marginal and material energy also, right? They created, yes, created from Pradhana Mahatattva, that time factor, time is a glance of the Mahavishnu. Everything is created and three mode of material nature, the force by the material nature. We are bound in the three mode of material nature, right, Prabhu?
Yes.
So question is that everything is under the under that Krishna's his energy.
Yes.
Through his energy. So can you tell me about the time factor? What is the time? Can you describe about the time? But how it is working and how it is? Can you describe about this, please?
How the time is working.
Yes.
Right.
And Prabhupada mentioned in the atomic time chapter, that three canto, there is some time related part also, right? Three canto atomic time.
Yeah, so there are different measurements of time.
Yes, but I'm talking about that whole time, more about the time. What is the time? Kala Shakti is there. How it is working, and what is that actually?
Wonderful. How the time is working under the Lord's direction, that in the spiritual world there is no time.
Okay.
That in the spiritual world there is no time.
Yes.
Never was there a time when the Lord did not exist. Right. So in the spiritual world there is no time. And the Lord's glancing on the material nature, and material nature starts manifesting. He also interjects that material nature with time. Right. So time is a material element. Of the 24 elements, time is also a material element. Right, that's one thing. Now, based on that time, then general divisions are there of these yuga cycles. Right, one yuga, one day of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma lives 100 years. One day of Lord Brahma is 1,000 yuga cycles, and one yuga cycle is of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. And then there are different number of years in each and every of this age. Right? And that's all time. 430, 2,000 years of Kali Yuga, 864,000 years of Dwapara Yuga, right? 1296 years, 1296,000 years of Treta Yuga, and like that. So that is the divisions of time through which Lord Brahma is 100 years. Through that, the living entity's average age is 100 years in Kali Yuga. 1,000 years in Dwapara Yoga. And then each and every day of that 24 hours.
Yes,
Right.
Prabhu, just sorry for interruption.
Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhu, this is in there is some unlimited time that is actually I don't forget that verse and forget that verse, and Prabhupada already mentioned in his purport unlimited time. Time is unlimited. Also, that another thing is that time through glance, Mahavishnu's glance, the Mahatattva activated and creation is happening actually.
Yeah.
So time is the one of the factor for creation, right?
Yeah. It's an element in that creation.
Yes. So it is a main factor, main factor or not?
No, it's not a main factor. It's one of the factors. Just
Okay.
like we have these 24 elements.
Yes.
Bhumi, Apo, Nala, Vayu, Kama, Mana, Buddhi, Eva, Cha. These are 8 elements.
Yes.
Right. So similarly, there are 24 elements. The 5 working senses, Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, right? And time. That comprises the 24 elements. So it's one of the factors in that.
So this time is like that Sambhu, that is the Shiva's potency also that come from the Vishnu.
Well, these elements ultimately are lying in dormant condition in the Mahatattva.
Yes.
So that Mahatattva, when it becomes agitated by the glands of Lord Vishnu, which is
That yes.
Sambhu.
Yes. So
Right.
that is the glancing is that through glancing time factor is coming, or already time factor in the
time factor is there, but through that glance factor, it becomes activated.
Okay.
Because Mahatattva is considered as an agglomerate of all the elements. If time is element, it is also an agglomeration of that element, which then becomes active when the glands comes in contact with the material nature or Mahatattva.
Yes.
Then it starts becoming active.
Yes. Okay. So this is that means, and another thing is that Mahatattva and the material nature is there already, but our temporary manifestation of the material nature, various things, that is temporary, right? Because our universe also temporary.
Yeah, well, so everything, even temporary is in the nature that yes, they're temporary, where it comes into manifestation, and then there's a cycle of unmanifestation.
Yes.
But ultimately, everything again becomes stagnant.
Stagnant. Yes. In that context.
In that context.
So
one
yes,
day
go
of
ahead.
Lord Brahma, right? We have this Sarga, creation, and then Visarga, secondary creation, which is brought by Lord Brahma.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Correct. So this time factor is one of the things that actually that also manifest that means trying that helping to manifest and unmanifest, right?
Yeah. You can consider it in that way, yeah.
Kala Shakti.
Yeah.
Yes. So all all our body and everything, whatever the manifested, that is temporary, but only Mahatattva, all the element is permanent.
Yeah, those elements are there. It's not illusory, it's temporary.
Temporary, yes.
That temporary, we get a form, an apartment. Like it just takes one little bomb to dissolve that apartment. Right? As we see the world around us, we see that oh, this country was such a beautiful country, and now it's all rubles by bombarded by the country. Similarly, there are so many living entities of different varieties. Right? It just takes one big pralaya where everything again wiped out.
Yes.
Right? Where that temporary creation, that living entities, they all their temporary bodies are disintegrated and gets back into material nature, and the living entities are then remaining in some stagnant condition before the next beginning.
So actually living entity here in material world, as it is not our natural state.
Yeah.
So we are always in this material changes, and we are temporarily absorbing everything, and so that's why we are not comfortable here, because our real position, real stability is in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, is time inferior energy of Krishna?
Yeah, in one sense it is. It's not superior energy of Krishna. It's no much. Superior energy of Krishna is the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is no time.
No time or no effect of time?
No time.
Okay.
Ananta. Eternal.
But time is also eternal, no, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's eternal in that way. Even the material elements in that way are eternal. The energy of the Lord is also eternal in that way. But that being said, the spiritual world is not, it's just abhas of that time. Oh, now, the time to wake up, or now is the time to do this activity or that activity. That abhas is there. It's not, it's spontaneously everybody is serving the Supreme Lord. In the spiritual world, there is no time. Let me, get more reference. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Dandava Prabhu. Prabhu, मैं लाल गोविंद प्रभु जी का I'm hearing the katha, लाल गोविंद प्रभु जी katha.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Not in the spiritual world, in the material world also. If we spend the time for Krishna, he was saying that time also not affect on us. Like a Lord Shiva, he always meditating on Krishna, so time doesn't affect on him. So he was saying that whatever the time we spend of Krishna, that is not the under the control of the time.
So, yeah, so basically what is in devotional service is not affected by the time. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, correct. Like whatever the devotion, still our age 50 years, and out of 50 we are spending more and more Krishna's time. then he was saying that age also increased. That kind of evidence also there, like the yogis, they spending, they're meditating Krishna, always pure yogis, their age also going to increase. Time doesn't affect on them.
Okay.
Like he was giving the example of Lord Shiva, like he was asking the Parvati Ma, asking Lord Shiva, what you do? Like asking one time, like Narad Muni came and then he told, ask Lord Shiva what he was wearing that mala. So many, the heads. So then Parvati asked Lord Shiva, whose head that? Then he tell, who told you this question? The Narad Muni came in my home. Then Parvati says, yes, Narad Muni came. Then Lord Shiva understood. Then he told Parvati, nothing that your head only, because you died so many times. But I did not, the time doesn't affect on me. Then she asked, what you do? Then Lord Shiva said, I do the meditation, means the Hari name. But I tried you also, but you slept many times during that. So time affects on you. You died so many times, but I did not, because I'm meditating always on Hari name.
Yeah, so basically the effect of time, what it means is the effect of time. What's the effect of time? That now is time for me to take rest. Now is the time for me to wake up. Those are the different effects of time, right?
Yes,
A devotee is not affected by the effects of time. That's what it means.
Yeah, correct. He was trying to say like even we the water, like he was saying like you are hearing my katha. He was giving example like a year, what 2 hours you are hearing my katha. So these 2 hours not affects on you. Your age these 2 hours increased.
I see. Okay. Yeah, but
But
on the
Prabhuji, Simeshwar Babu told other day,
yeah.
time is a factor. Time is actually uh, taking everything and giving like that. What is that? Time is that. What is that? Prabhuji told other way. Time is the potency of the Lord, Kala
Mhm.
Shakti, which is take everything and again it will give everything. So that is the one of the property of the time. Property means property of the time. Simeshwar Prabhu can repeat that thing so we can understand.
Yeah, he's probably in he's Bhakti Viksha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's talking about that time taking slowly everything. That's why we are thinking that it is changing something. That is the time's potency.
Yeah. So just as I'm opening up, there's this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 5th chapter, 43rd verse. It says, all learned men say that the 5 elements, eternal time, fruitive activity, which is karma, 3 modes of material nature, right, the laws of nature, and the varieties produced by these modes, right, varieties produced by these modes are all various varieties of living entities, are all creations of Yoga Maya. This material world is therefore extremely difficult to understand, but those who are highly learned have rejected it. May the Supreme Lord, who is the controller of everything, be pleased with us. This is like the demigods appeal to the Lord for protection. So where they are mentioning about these 5 elements: eternal time, fruitive activity, the 3 modes of material nature, and the varieties produced by these modes. Right. So ultimately, what it means that it's a material element. It's Kala Sakti, as you mentioned, Kala Sakti of the Supreme Lord. Yeah, Kal Sakti. And ultimately, there's a beginning and end when it comes to material nature. But there is no beginning and end in the Lord's activities, which are eternal. Or the spiritual activities, as what Jagdish Prabhu mentioned about the Bhagavatam hearing. Like the pastimes, the Ras Leela pastimes of the Supreme Lord, which happened in the night. It's mentioned that night was as big as one day of Lord Brahma. Now you can imagine one day of Lord Brahma is 1,000 yuga cycles. And here in Dwapara Yuga, in one night, when the Ras Leela pastimes happened, it was so long as if it was like one day of Lord Brahma. So, it's difficult for us to comprehend how one day of Lord Brahma of 1,000 yuga cycles of billions of years got encapsulated in one night of the Ras Leela pastimes of the Supreme Lord. For us, it's difficult to comprehend. Right? But the descriptions are there of Lord Krishna's Leela. So similarly, Lal Govinda Prabhu mentioning about, okay, so the spiritual activities which you perform is not under the influence, does not come under the influence of time. Right? Does not come under the influence of time. One does not become tired. 7 days and night, Parikshit Maharaj continuously heard Srimad Bhagavatam, which was continuously narrated by Sukadeva Goswami. Nobody had a break time in between. Oh, let's have a break now for lunch or dinner. Because it was not coming under the purview of time in that way.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji, what I was told that Krishna expands time. Like when we say, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do bhakti or chanting. And when we sincerely desire, Krishna will expand time. Even if we'll have 1 hour, we'll be able to accommodate whatever we have to do if it's related to bhakti within that time, and we won't even realize. So somehow we feel that Krishna has expanded time. So maybe that is another way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prabhu, we have these 3 modes, no? Ignorance, passion.
Yes.
Goodness. Now this is material.
Yeah.
But the same symptoms we see also in the spiritual world. So Brahma Vimohan Leela.
Yeah.
Krishna expands himself as the cows, the calves, the gopas. And their mothers also are, how do you say, bewildered.
Yeah.
So bewilderment is one of the symptoms of ignorance, so to say, or effect of ignorance. So what kind of, I know that's under Yoga Maya for, so is there a spiritual mode of goodness, and like you have Shuddha Tattva and is there a Shuddha Tamas and a Shuddha Rajas?
Yeah. Now, let's understand that where that Brahma Vimohan Leela, they were bewildered by seeing their emotions, that somehow or other they found themselves being much more attached to that sun.
Yeah.
They cannot explain it why, but they found themselves much more attached to their sun. Right? From that aspect, bewildered. So it's not that they were under the modes of nature in tamogun or something like that. They were completely attached to the sun, who is now the Supreme Lord himself. So they are, from the material nature standpoint of view, they are in the Suddha Sattva platform. Transcendental goodness. Fully attached to the Supreme Lord. They did not know, but unknowingly they are fully attached to the Son, who is the Supreme Lord.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, beautiful explanation. Very good. Prabhu.
It's a Brahma Vimohan Lila kind of teaches us that, okay, no, they are, no, they're fully attached. Yeah. Is that good, sadhus?
Yes, Prabhu, very good. Thanks.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Should we take Vishram?
Yes, Prabhu.
Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu So I will again wish everybody, those who are following New Year, Happy New Year. So it's not the Gudi Padwa, but Ugadi also is tomorrow, I believe. Or those who are in India, it's already there today. So we'll wish everybody Happy Gudi Padwa, Happy Ugadi, and general Happy New Year. So that your new year is filled, the coming year is filled in the activities of the Supreme Lord and thinking and remembering about the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank
Mataji, Happy New Year, Happy Gudi Padwa to you. Satyabama Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Same to you.
Hari
Happy
Bol.
New Year and Happy
Thank you,
Gudi Padwa to you.
Prabhuji.
Happy Ugadi too. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Done for Pranam, everyone.